Hello everybody, this is Tip Top Gaming here today with another Magic the Gathering video. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you a custom set of cards revolving around all the characters, items, and events in Ironman 3. There's a lot of cards I want to talk about, so I'm just going to jump right into this. There's only one piece of information you really need to know. Heroes and villains are a really big part of this set. Heroes are red, blue, white, and villains are black, blue, red. Alrighty, so why don't we, starting this right off, I want to talk about the main character, Ironman. Ironman is called Ironman Mark 42. He's a red and blue legendary artifact equipment suit, and it says if equipped creature is owned by you, it gains +2/+2 and has flying, and if equipped creature is owned by an opponent, it gains -2/-0 and has defender, and then you can pay 2 to equip it to a creature. So you'll notice here that it's actually an equipment suit, and that happens in this movie because the suits become a lot more autonomous. They can do things on their own, so you're able to play the cards without Tony being in the suit. Now, the Iron Legion's a really big part of this movie, and unfortunately, I can't fit 40 cards within this set just for the Iron Legion. So there would be a supplemental product similar to Secret Lair, where you would get one of every member of the Iron Legion, and so I've made all those cards, so I'm doing a separate video talking about just those cards because there's so many of them. But the fact that this is an artifact suit matters to a couple cards. Alrighty, on top of that, the really cool part about this card is that this whole thing is controlled by his mind and it's meant to get on him really fast. So the idea here is that at instant speed, you can pay 2 to put it on him, or say your opponent plays a really scary creature, you can also pay 2 and give it defender, because in the movie he's shown to be able to take the suit off of him and put it onto other people to hamper their ability. So he can just really quickly swap. Alrighty, now why don't we talk about another kind of main character within this story, Pepper Potts. She's a white legendary creature human 1/1 with lifelink, and it says if she would die while under the control of an opponent, you gain control of her again, and she's transformed into her Pepper Potts enhanced form, which is supposed to represent how in the movie she was enhanced with the Extremis serum and gave her kind of superpowers, which she didn't really want, but she was transformed into that. And so you can also pay 1 to give target player Pepper Potts, so you're going to give it to an opponent, and your opponent doesn't want to block with that creature and doesn't want to attack with that creature, and so you pretty much have to kill it. And then when you do, you get this 5/5 Pepper Potts Enhanced, which is also a red card, and it's Legendary Creature Enhanced Human, which is a new creature type being added for the Iron Man 3 sets and being added to older cards that I already did, like Captain America. But she has Reach and Trample, representing how when she jumped up in the very final shot, she jumps up and kills Aldrich Killian, or the suit, sorry. And yeah, so that's why she has reached there. But it says whenever a creature deals combat damage to another creature you control, you may have Pepper Potts Enhanced fight that creature. Again, this is a reference to her saving Tony. So if he was going to get hit, fight. And then she can also pay 2 to be regenerated, which is a common feature seen within the Extremis people because, well, that's what they do. They are, they can regenerate themselves, and that's seen clearly throughout the movie. Next, we have Aldrich Killian. It's a 4-cost red and green, because all of the Extremis people are red and green, really. It's a legendary creature, human mythic. It's a 2/1 with defender, and it says at the beginning of each end step, if Aldrich Killian has the unstable ability, transform him into Aldrich Killian the Extremis. So unstable says sacrifice this creature. It deals damage to up to 2 target creatures equal to this creature's power. So it allows him to explode, which also happens a lot in the movie, and it's supposed to show how they are unstable. Now, you can pay 6 and tap him to give him unstable, which would then transform him, or you could use other cards within the set to give him this ability. So become enhanced or Extremis enhanced are both examples of things that give unstable and could flip him earlier. Then, when he turns and flips into the Extremis, he's a 3/5 with double strike, and he is also now enhanced. And then, whenever he deals combat damage to a player, you may destroy target artifact, enchantment, or land. So, artifact's supposed to represent all the suits he destroyed. Enchantment just makes the card more playable. And, playable. This card's already really good. And land represents him killing Tony's house. And then he has unstable 6, similar to how you paid 6 to give him unstable before. Already, so why don't we talk about a bunch of the Extremis characters, because it's kind of important to see how this kind of group of characters would play in game. Eric Savin is a 7-cost 6/6 legendary creature enhanced human, and when it says whenever you sacrifice a creature, each creature you control gains pay 1 red or green and regenerate this creature until end of turn. So it basically says, hey, you sacrificed one creature, now you can save all the rest of them. And then he also has Unstable himself, so if you really needed to deal 6 damage to 2 creatures, you could do that for 3. So that is a pretty good card. Next, we have Brandt. She's a 5-cost 5/3, and it says when she enters the battlefield, search your library for a card with Unstable, and then you can pay 1 and a green to regenerate her, and then she has Unstable 4. So what's cool is the regeneration doesn't save her from Unstable, which is very accurate. They aren't able to recover from blowing up, and so I really like the flavor behind the Extremis Soldiers. There are other cards that care about Extremis Soldiers, some that create a token version, some that give them Unstable, and so there are a bunch of really cool cards within the set. I'm not able to cover all of them, so you can find a link in the description where you can find every single card that I created, because some of the minor plot events I'm not going to be able to talk about in this video, because otherwise this would be like a 3-hour video. Alrighty, next we have Hansen, who's a 3-cost red and green, so it could be either all red or all green. 1/1 legendary creature human, and when she enters the battlefield, create 3/0/1 green plant creature tokens, and then you can sacrifice 2 creatures to give something unstable until end of turn. So this could be used to give something of yours unstable to blow it up to deal damage, or it could be used to transform Aldrich Killian, which is probably the more ideal use for this. And so, yeah, I really like this card. I think it's very flavorful. You know, we see in the movie the plants that are healing and her being the scientist kind of person. So I think this works out really well. Let's jump right into Vice President Rodriguez, who is again 2 red-green. And the reason it's kind of like that is because villains, like heroes and villains, don't have green in their colors at all, and I want to make green cards, but also I want you to be able to play this in like a villain deck, so I make it playable in a villain deck by doing stuff like this. And then but he says whenever you sacrifice a creature for unstables, so for the unstable ability, or whenever you regenerate a creature, draw a card. This is a really big bomb within the set, and while he may not be enhanced himself, he's really helping out the bad guys, and so this allows you to kind of do that and like gain intelligence, which is kind of like card draw. So I really like how this card turned out. Why don't we jump back over to the hero side? Happy Hogan, Head of Security, is a 4-cost legendary creature human 3/3, and you get to prevent all non-combat damage that was dealt to him. So he can't be killed through Unstable, which, you know, in the story he gets blown up by Unstable, but he survives. And so I wanted you to not be able to kill him with Unstable. So he has that ability, and then you can just tap him to tap target creature, because he's Head of Security and he's supposed to be stopping people. Alrighty. Again, there's not much to this card. This card's meant to be very simple. Not every card needs to be 30 lines of text. But the next card I like, and it is very cool. It says, whenever Harley Keener enters the battlefield, target artifact you control becomes an equipment in addition to its other type. It has equip 1, and equipped creature has -2/-2. So, you know, normally you can't equip artifacts to, or equip equipment to your opponent's creature, but you can tap him to equip target equipment with equip cost 4 or less to target creature. So this allows you to not only at instant speed equip things to your creatures, because he really, like, in a pinch helps Tony, and so that's where that concept comes from, but he also allows you to equip things to your opponent's creature, including the Ironman Mark 42 suit, so that he really synergizes that, allowing you to do it for free instead of having to pay 2 mana. So he also can then tap every turn to like kill something with 2 toughness or lower the power of something. So I really like this. It's supposed to represent how he's an engineer, he's building things, he's turning artifacts into other things, and so I really like how this card turned out. It's actually one of my favorite cards within the Iron Man 3 section. Alrighty, why don't we talk about another hero? Iron Patriot is a 1, red, white, and blue, 2/2 legendary creature, human hero flying. Now you might be like, 2/2? You'll see why. He says non-hero creatures you control have defenders, so he makes it so no creatures that aren't heroes can attack. So he's like protecting all the innocent people so they don't have to go attack. And then, or all the non-heroes. And then he says, for each creature you control with Defender, Iron Patriot gets +X +Y, where X is the creature's power and where Y is the creature's toughness. So, say you have 5 2/2s that are tapped, or not tapped, who are non-heroes, they all can't attack, and now he gets +10/+10, because that was their power and toughness. So he basically takes all the power and toughness for all your creatures and puts them into himself. Although he doesn't do that for heroes, because heroes can sometimes have like really weird ways to jack up their power, but with, you know, bad consequences to it. Also, it doesn't really make sense for him to be stopping heroes from doing their job. So that's why that happens. Matthew Ellis President is a green-white legendary creature human 1/1, and he says creatures you control get +1/+1 and have vigilance, which is crazy for 2 mana. However, if you pay 5, you can gain control of them, and any player may do this. This is a theme seen throughout the set. Anything that is stolen really can be given to, like, people can pay mana to gain control of it. So, like, for instance, Hawkeye from the Avengers set, he is a very powerful creature for his mana cost, but you're basically fighting back and forth for control, which is kind of what happens in the movie and what I wanted to happen here. So that actually was me breaking down all of the characters. Now it's been about 10 minutes, and so I'm only going to be able to cover a couple more things, but one thing I really want to talk about are these sagas. House Party Protocol is a 4-cost enchantment saga, and when it enters the battlefield, you get to do the first effect, and it says sacrifice it unless you have half your life total or less, so you get to just sacrifice it if you're not weak enough. But then, 2, you get to put a suit from your hand on the battlefield tapped, so any of the things from the Iron Legion, so that's why the Iron Legion is really important, especially for this card. And then land you control have a tap, search your library for a suit card, and put it into your hand until end of turn. So this just really cares about putting suits on the battlefield, getting a lot of suits together, which is really what the House Party Protocol is. Most movies are going to have sagas because sagas are supposed to tell stories, and these movies are stories, so I think it makes a lot of sense that there are a ton of sagas. Well, maybe not a ton, but a decent amount. Then we have the Clean State Protocol, which is also a 4-cost saga, but it says destroy all artifacts, so you just get to pay for it to destroy all artifacts, which can be really good. Then you get to deal damage to each creature equal to the number of artifacts in your graveyard. Then you get to make each player sacrifice a number of land equal to the number of artifacts in your graveyard. So you're meant to basically bring out your giant Iron Legion, and then you're like, oh wait, now I can't attack for some reason. Maybe they said creatures can't attack you. Now you could blow up all your creatures to then kill everything on the board. Or like, this is kind of just like a big reset, which is what it was in the story. So I think that works really, really well. Now, I really want to talk about one more cycle. There's this cycle of things called like false. So false death, false leader, false presence, false truth, and false threat. These all do some effect. Like, so maybe like deal 5 damage to target opponent for a very cheap cost, but then like a turn or 2 later, they get to undo that effect plus more. And I just really like the cycle, so I'm gonna flash those up on screen. This was a really fun set to like build, and there were a bunch of cool cards. I'm probably just gonna like scroll some past you. These are not all of them, obviously. But you can check out a link in the description where you can look at all of the cards. And if you have any questions about any cards, any interactions, if you see any problems with the cards, have any ideas, I really want communication and to have a community here. So please leave comments in the description down below. It really means a lot to me. Yeah, that's going to do it for this video. We've talked about a lot. I would love to talk about more of those specific interactions, and if you want me to make a second follow-up video where I talk about all those little interactions, like how if you play Reckless Move, which is Tony telling the terrorist where his house is, you can then cast a spell which lets you destroy a land, and then that land, if you play Tony Stark's mansion and target it with that spell, you get a bonus. So like, there's a bunch of really cool interactions that were designed into the set that may not be apparent from just looking at it. So yeah, this is why I kind of make these videos instead of just posting them. Alrighty guys, that's gonna do it for this video. Please hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.